Hello.
How long it takes in getting ready with your makeup? And do you elaborate before or do you improvise when painting?
I'm sorry, we say that one more time?
Yeah, I really can't hear you either. It sounds like a bunch of noise coming in the background. Can you repeat that? Or if that's someone else's line, could you go on mute? Go ahead, Marco.
I repeat, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long it takes in getting ready with your makeup? And you elaborate it before or do you improvise when painting?
It's usually ranges between 30 minutes and 45 minutes. Sometimes it goes up to an hour, but it all starts with the image in my brain during the day. Like I know my colors and I see what I want to paint, but it always becomes something different, which is why it's kind of cool. So yeah, I got a general idea throughout the day, but then I use a certain, 3 colors normally, and then it all comes together. And I've been very lucky that I haven't messed up more than I have in the past.
Okay, and which was the field you are still connected with the most?
I'm sorry, we asked that one more time?
Yeah, you're pretty low. Can you repeat that one more time for me?
Which was your best field in your story?
Joe, did you get that?
No, I didn't. Hold on one second.
Which was the best story field in your wrestling history?
I guess it's the best match in the...
I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, I think it's your best match in history I'd go with, and then I'll see if I can...
Rivalry.
Oh, rivalry. Best rivalry? There you go. Best rivalry and your... Yeah, what's the best feud you've had? Yeah, sorry. What's the best feud you've had, and what's the best rivalry that you've had?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would probably say one of my favorites of all time was years ago with MAGA, the Samoan Bulldozer. But then after that, naturally CM Punk was a good one, and RVD was always a good feuding opponent. But probably my most favorite of all time, just because he is the legend and the man, is The Undertaker.
Okay, the last one for me is that today, at least from the NXT roster, you would like to take?
Yeah, there's several. I haven't watched it as much as I should, but I really like Velveteen Dream. He seems to be a very entertaining dude. I'd love to mix it up with him one day in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Marco. We'll move over to Sports Kita.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. This is Shane from Sports Kia. How are you?
Hey, good.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you in your match with Randy Orton. So, do you agree with him when he says that he has not gotten the kind of respect that you have in his career?
No, I don't know what chip he's got on his shoulder all of a sudden about. I mean, he is he was known as the Legend Killer, the Viper, the Apex Predator, and he's a future Hall of Famer, and he is great at what he does. But I don't know where this respect deal comes from, because I think the WWE Universe has great respect for him, and so I think it's just something personal, he has towards me, whether it's me wearing kind of pantyhose on my arms and painting my face like a rodeo clown. I mean, I'm not sure what his issue is with me, but I think he just dislikes my creative outlet and the way I present myself.
Okay. And Jeff, you're a pioneer in the high-flying style. So who has impressed you the most from the 205 Live roster?
Who has impressed me?
Yeah.
From the SmackDown roster?
From 205 Live, you said.
No. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, definitely. Buddy Murphy, I believe, and Mustafa Ali have just blew my mind. Every time I've stuck around to watch 205 after SmackDown, they blow me away. It's like they keep raising the bar, and I don't know how they do it. I mean, those two guys are, they're 205 is the X Games of the professional wrestling world, and I love watching it.
Okay. And Matt, with Matt being out with injury, can we expect to see the Hardy Boys as a tag team anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm sure our roads will cross again. I mean, as the Hardy Boys before it's all said and done. But when I had rotator cuff surgery, Matt naturally had to do something on his own. So I was out for 6 months, and that's when he became woke. And hopefully we'll see more of that. But hopefully he feels better in the near future, and he can do more than behind the scenes stuff. And still, one of these days, moving forward, I'm sure you'll see the Hardy Boys again, or the Hardy Men.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll move over to Wrestling Inc. in India.
Hello, Jeff. Akhilesh here. Thank you so much for the time. How are you doing today?
Hello, good. Thanks for having me.
Jeff, firstly, I wanted to ask you're the most recent addition to the list of Grand Slam champions in the WWE in the modern format. Now, looking back at what you have accomplished so far in the WWE, what's your next aim or ambition to achieve in the company?
It's coming up really soon. I mean, it's days away, and I've been talking about it probably for the last 8 years. The one thing I've never done in WWE is a Hell in a Cell match, and here we are. I'm in a Hell in a Cell with Randy Orton, and so I've been asking for it for all this time, and now it's time to see what I can do inside there. So it's going to be very memorable, and I'll do something that people won't forget. And that's one to knock off my list as far as things I want to do.
Right, absolutely. I was about to ask you that you previously talked about wanting to participate in a Hell in a Cell match, something you've never done before. Is there anything else on your bucket list you'd want to cross off before you call it a day?
I would like to win the world title again for sure. That's probably the main thing. After my brother and I returned at WrestleMania 33, we won the tag team championships again, and so it'd be good now that we're doing our solo deals in singles competition to be the world champion again. So that's one thing for sure.
Right, and at Hell in a Cell, you think you saw in Randy Orton, maybe some of the outrageous moments you both were involved in over a decade ago. Now that you're both square off inside the demonic structure, what can we expect from a charismatic enigma?
You can expect the unexpected. I think my thoughts are too big for my size. Sometimes I got a lot of good ideas as far as what I can do inside that structure, and this Sunday is when we're going to find out if what I'm thinking is possible or not. So it's just going to be a very memorable Jeff Hardy match.
Fantastic. When you and Matt returned to the WWE last year, obviously everything was different from when you were there the last time around. So what has been the biggest difference for you since returning to the company, either in terms of the talent, the focus on the women's division, or anything else?
Not much has changed as far as my position here. I've always, I feel kind of the same as I was before, just a little older. I mean, there's a lot of new faces. The Shield is now, your main eventers of each show, SmackDown and Raw. I mean, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and I've been in the ring with Dean and Seth and Roman, not yet, but hopefully in the future that's going to happen. Yeah, quite a few new faces, but the family's still here. We've been coming here off and on since I was 16 years old. For 25, 26 years, whatever it's been, and not much has changed other than the faces and social media is probably the biggest difference.
Gotcha. One last thing for me, Jeff. I got to ask you about something the fans were expecting to see when you returned to the WWE. This Woken man returning to his Woken universe. We've seen glimpses, but was there any discussion about Brother Nero appearing on WWE programming? And is there a chance that WWE fans can see the alter ego of Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I kind of feel like me bringing the face paint now and breaking the white contacts out is kind of like a modified version of Brother Nero, and that might take a completely drastic turn this Sunday at Hell in a Cell, because I might really fully go all out as Brother Nero, and who knows, you might see Willow pop up here from the Broken Universe. Anything's possible.
All right, wonderful. Thank you for your time. Just appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll move over to Vincente at Mundo Deportivo.
Hello, Jeff. How you doing?
Hello, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much, honestly, for being with us today. I would like to start from the show we have only 4 or 5 days, Hell in a Cell. You're actually feud with Randy Orton, when both of you know each other very well. is it more important the psychological part or the physical part of the storyline?
Right now, for me, I think there's a lot, I mean, it's both, but I'm going to probably drive myself crazy until I get in there, thinking about what's going to happen and what could happen, what could go wrong, what could go right. So, emotionally, I mean, it's kind of, it'll wear you down if you let it, but hopefully it's going to be my first and a very memorable Hell in a Cell this Sunday. Both emotions run wild.
What are you learning from your feud with Nakamura, and what do you think of his new heel persona?
Shinsuke Nakamura is very entertaining, very fun to watch, and he is AJ Styles has taught him a con artist on many occasions. I truly believe that now that I've experienced it. So I'm the Enigma and the kind of real artist, but he's a dirty competitor. But hey, I love his entrance. I love his the way he moves, and he's a great WWE superstar. So much respect for Shinsuke, even though he's robbed me of the U.S. title.
After all these years in the wrestling business, is there any talent that you've never been in the ring with that you would like to face inside the square circle?
There's a few. Probably right now, more than any, it's I would say Roman Reigns, probably because AJ Styles and TNA, me and him. I wrestled AJ a lot in the other company, and it'd be cool to wrestle him now in the WWE. But probably Roman Reigns is number one.
Finally, we're having the episode 1000 of SmackDown very soon. And you, for all your performances in the show, would you like to relive any special moment from that?
Gosh, I don't know. There's been so many, and I was here when SmackDown started, which is insane. I remember when it first debuted. But yeah, a lot of crazy things have happened, and I can't really remember one in particular, but I'm sure it's going to be a huge celebration.
Thank you, and good luck on Sunday.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Vicente. We'll move over to Ben at Give Me Sport.
Hi, Jeff. Something that's come out of the feud with Randy Orton is through some earlobe pulling that's happened a few times after your matches. Whose idea is that to use it as a move, and did you expect that to get as much traction it has done from social media and the crowd?
I'm sorry, could you ask that one more time?
Something that's come out of your feud with Randy Orton is the earlobe pulling that he's been doing to you after matches. Whose idea was it to use that as a move, and did you expect it to get much traction from the crowd as it has done?
Not really, because it had been done one time before in the other company, and I mean, it hurts, but those things are actually, once those gauges are out, I mean, it's not like I can tape them up and leave them unexposed, but that's just Randy. He's the apex predator. He'll use anything he can, and I mean, it's got a great reaction from the fans, and I'm just glad he hadn't ripped it yet, and hopefully he's going to stay away from that completely and handle himself, and think 2 times is enough.
Obviously, a Hell in a Cell match, it can be pretty taxing on the body, especially if you take a few big bumps, something you've done regularly in your career. Have any of your family given you any words of advice about taking it easy and not doing too much to put yourself in danger?
Yeah, I mean, I think about that a lot, but I also try not to hesitate if I have a big idea and think something is possible to pull off inside Hell in a Cell. But naturally, the fear is going to be within me, but that's kind of part of the fun, once you do survive and everything turns out great. So I just won't hesitate. Like, if I'm going to commit to something, I'm going to follow through with it, and I'm sure my daughters will be proud of me.
And it's been reported that your brother Matt's been learning the ropes backstage after his in-ring career is done. Can you see yourself doing something similar, like being a producer, or do you want to coach at the performance centre, or can you see yourself branching out from wrestling?
Right now, no, I don't see myself doing that at all. But totally, Matt's perfect for that. I mean, he's got a great mind for the business. I just have so many other interests and things I enjoy doing besides wrestling. So as far as my career after wrestling, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if I can make a living off painting canvases, but I'm sure sure with the network now, I'll be involved in some shape or way, but I don't see myself as a producer or an agent.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll move over to Nims. You can go ahead, Nims.
G'day, Jeff. How you going? Hey, good. How are you? Good, thank you. Now, Jeff, you've had a career that spanned since 1993, and did you ever imagine that almost 30 years later that you'd still be wrestling to that same, and in fact, I'd even say that you've just gotten better and better and better. Time doesn't seem to catch up to Jeff Hardy. Did you ever think that you could still be going so much later from your debut? I never really thought about it back then, but I think pretty much what's helped myself is like being away for a while and then coming back, and just not the brutal schedule all the time that the WWE is, you know. So I think the 7-8 years I was gone, I mean, in other companies, it was good for me because I had a lot more time off to heal and everything. And same with Matt, you know, we've kind of been back and forth over the years, but it's cool because I know we're nearing the end in a certain sense, as far as we can't do this forever. And I mean, I just turned 41, and I feel good right now, but I don't know how I'm going to feel in the next 5 years. But I'm just going to take it, you know, week by week and see how my body holds up. But yeah, I think just being away for a while and then coming back has helped us tremendously. But it's good to be back now. It's where we can finally retire and end it where it started. Does it seem strange to you that, you know, once when you were in that locker room, you were looking up to guys like, say, The Undertaker as veterans, and now you're in that veteran role for some young talent to turn to you for advice? Yeah, it's very strange. It's very surreal and don't seem realistic to consider myself that type of influencer or whatever it is. But yeah, it's definitely strange, and I mainly compliment more than I'm not really a coach or a trainer, but there's so much talent here now, and it's just cool to still be relevant. And I don't consider myself one of those guys, but I still and will always look up to The Undertaker. I mean, till the day I die from him. Now, when you did mention in the previous question some stuff that you may possibly do when your career comes to a close on the WWE Network. We've seen like Edge and Christian do the Edge and Christian show. We've seen other things like Corey Graves do Superstar Inc. If you could get a WWE Network show, because we have seen from back in the day the Hardy show, which was something that I think that you need to do again, what would you want to do on the WWE Network? I definitely see something like the Hardy show happening with a lot cleaner language naturally. Because I've watched some older episodes that they're great, but we were just, oh my gosh, they had dirty mouths, you know, just cursing way too much. But I also see the broken universe coming to life on the network, you know, because I mean, it's hard to get rid of broken Matt Hardy, and I think that might be a good way to display it. Also, I'd love to do something involving music and motocross as well moving forward, because I still love those two things, you know, crazy. Now, Jeff, you've got a couple of daughters yourself, and the business has changed so much since when you first got in. I mean, we've now got the Evolution pay-per-view, which is coming up in October. We've got Renee Young now doing commentary on Monday Night Raw. It's really, there's so many doors that are open for females now in the WWE and just the business in general. If they, when they grow up and they wanted to get involved in the business, would you be happy to let them do that? Oh, for sure, man. It's and I truly believe after this pay-per-view, it's going to change the game. I mean, the women are doing just as much as the men are doing these days. It's incredible. And I have the Hardy girls. Matt had the Hardy boys. You know, so I think in the next 10, years or so, we might see a women's tag team division. And I mean, who knows, man? That would be awesome to have women tag team titles in the whole division, because we're heading in that direction, and I can't wait to check out Evolution. Yeah, it should be pretty good. One last one for you, Jeff. So October 6th here in Australia is the WWE Super Showdown. I know your brother is dealing with a couple of injuries and whatnot, and let's face it, it's a very, very, very long trip
from the Carolinas all the way to Melbourne, Australia. Would we be seeing, if not both of the Hardy Boys, could we see at least one of them and have you come down to Australia?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Matt's going to be able to make it, but as of now, I'm good to go, man. And I can't wait to paint up in Australia for the first time, because I think that a couple times I've been there before, I've never used the face paint, so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, Jeff, we're looking forward to see you too, man. All the best against Shinsuke Nakamura tonight on SmackDown, and best of luck this weekend in Hell in a Cell against Randy Orton. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. We'll move over to Ash Rose. You can go to Ash.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Jeff. Just quickly talking about Hell in a Cell. I know when you said before it's one of the matches you've always wanted to do. I mean, there's been so many now. What are your favourite memories of past Hells in the Cells?
Oh my gosh, I've watched so many Hell in a Cell matches over the last couple weeks. Just trying to update myself on what the match consists of, and but I can't get over the first Undertaker and Mankind Hell in a Cell. I think that's probably, I don't think it's never going to be topped, because that Mick Foley was amazing that night. He was superhuman that he survived that, and oh my God, I mean, yeah, when he first got thrown off the cage and then got off the stretcher and came back, that choke slam through the cage. What people probably don't understand, especially new fans of WWE, that ring was so hard back in the day. I mean, you would have to be 300, 350 to make it move at all, and that ring was super hard. And the way he hit was so impactful. And to just say, in a sick way, that's my favorite match.
Yeah, it's a very iconic match, of course. You touched on it there, of course. A former member of Team Extreme Lita is stepping back in the ring. What do you make of that? And do you assume that Lita can still go?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Lita's, she is bad to the bone, man. She's going to tear it up at Evolution. It's going to be cool to see her back in the ring. I'm just wondering if she's going to break out the thong with the drooping pants again.
I'm not sure she'll get away with that one. Finally, talking of Team Extreme, we wanted to ask you, if you could build, looking forward to Survivor Series, if you could build your own Team Extreme, your dream team that WWE stars past the present, so 4 wrestlers, who would be in your ultimate team?
Oh, like a new Team Extreme?
Well, like a Survivor Series Team Extreme.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I would say, oh gosh, let me see, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Mustafa Ali, Rob Van Dam, and Rey Mysterio.
That is some high-flying thing. Well, that would be something to look forward to. Well, thanks very much, Jeff. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Ash. We'll move over to Matty Paddock. You can go ahead, Matty.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, just at late notice as well. I'm stepping in for Neil at the Daily Mirror, so I'll keep it quick, but I might have to squeeze an extra question in there if that's all right. Jeff, thanks for your time. I just wanted to start really with something I picked up on that you said last month, that you were having to curb the use of the Swanton Bomb at things like live events because your back was struggling a little bit. But we saw soon after that at SummerSlam you take one of the sickest bumps I think I've seen in quite a long time in terms of the one on the apron of the ring there. Is it difficult for you to sort of curb that urge to wow the WWE universe when you're looking at protecting your own body?
Yeah, when it's a big show like SummerSlam, last year Matt and I were in the pre-show, the very first match when people were still coming in the building, and this year, being that I was in the U.S. title match, I said I wanted to do one, big thing, and my back, I started feeling a lot better when I stopped doing the Swanton 3 nights a week. I would just save it for TV and not do it at the live events, and I healed, over the course of about 3 or 4 weeks, really good. So I think moving forward, I got to do more of that and just not do that thing every night, because my back was so bad there for a few weeks, and I was actually freaking out a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna have to break away from that stuff and just and I think the fans still respect me and understand, especially when I'm the last match and I can take time to take pictures with as many people as possible. I think that's way more meaningful than seeing a Swanton Bomb. So yeah, I mean, I just turned 41 and I got to do more of that to protect myself.
And a couple of people have mentioned Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. A couple of people have mentioned you haven't had so much coming up. It's one you spoke about wanting to tick off your bucket list, if you like, and then sure enough, the match was announced. Was that something that backstage you lobbied for, or was it just a happy coincidence?
No, I never asked for it. I think a part of me was, well, maybe it'll never happen, and I just won't have to worry about it. But then when I found out, I got really excited, like the youthful, passion of Jeff Hardy. When I was in my early 20s, kind of sparked, and I was like, wow, this is cool. It's going to happen. And no, I never asked for it, but they sure are giving it to me, and we'll see what happens.
And what do you think, obviously it's your current feud, but in terms of being able to undertake such a big match for you in your career with someone like Randy, who is also such a well-established star, I mean, it must be a great pick for you to get in the ring and work with someone like that at this stage in your career and still be able to tell the story.
Oh, for sure. And I know Randy very well. We have a long history of feuding, and I was watching Hell in the Cell matches probably like for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he's been in like 6 or 7, I believe. So it's crazy. He's very familiar with that structure, and that's one thing I'm not. I've never actually been inside a Hell in a Cell, but I've got a lot of big ideas, and I'm going to try to pull them off.
And just very lastly from me, I'm going back to my very first memories of seeing you and Matt, certainly in WWE. I remember a confrontation with Kane, I think back in 1997, and a very painful-looking double choke slam for the two of you. I just wondered if you could tell me a little bit about how you came from almost like that sort of part-time basis where you just be working as an enhancement talent for WWE to having this body of work now where not only are you part of one of the most memorable tag teams in history, but also with a single star as well. How did that more permanent career come about for you in WWE?
I always knew, like back in the day when we were the nobodies for like 4 years wrestling the superstars, I was like, man, I felt so confident in what I could do in there in the ring, and I was like, I'm gonna get beat up the best I can and make somebody remember me. And I can't explain it, but somehow I always knew that we were gonna end up in the WWE, and have a career here. So yeah, we just believed in ourselves and our work, and studied our craft like nobody's business. And it's cool to look back on all the things we've done and how long we've been here, especially during the Attitude Era and all that. And the fact that we're still around it is pretty cool.
Thanks ever so much. Good luck this weekend, and speak to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll move over to Andy Spores. You can go ahead, Andy.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. It's well documented that you're a very creative guy. What is it that inspires you outside the ring?
Music, number one, probably. Family, number one. Music, motocross, the weather. I mean, everything. I'm very blessed to be as healthy as I am and have 2 beautiful daughters and a beautiful, healthy wife. And family, music, and motocross and painting is a great outlet for me. When I'm scared or whatever, I can always start painting my face and kind of it's a peaceful outlet for me. So I would start with family, then say music, then say motocross, and then say art.
And what kind of music in particular?
Alternative rock. I mean, basically, when back in the day when Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Tool, Manson, I mean all that stuff, the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean that changed my life basically because I was heavy into like hip hop and rap, and I still love that. I love all genres of music, but alternative rock is probably my number one. And like Imagine Dragons, their vibe is really cool. So yeah, I dig everything though.
Great. I think most people, if not everyone in that watches wrestling, would agree that you've had a Hall of Fame career even at this stage. If you were ever to enter it, who would you want to induct you and why?
I think it's inevitable that Michael Hayes would be that guy because he was Matt and I always kind of refer to him as our pro wrestling daddy, and because we traveled with him for the longest time and just learned so much from him, and he is still here, and he is one of the probably the biggest genius that helps tell stories here, and he's just great at what he does, and he helps us out so much. I think it's him for sure, Michael P.S. Hayes.
Great. And in regards to Sunday, you mentioned a couple of times, obviously you've never had a Hell in a Cell match, and you've got some ideas. But how do you prepare for a match that you've never had before?
All I've done is watched previous Hell in a Cell matches, and I see what I see in my mind, just like what I'm seeing right now as far as what my face is going to look like tonight. And the cool thing, but also kind of scary thing, is what I see. It always changes as far as like when it makes its way into reality. So yeah, you just basically I'm believing in myself and my ideas, and I think it's going to be great.
Great. Look forward to watching it and try and stay safe.
Thank you, man.
Thanks. We'll move over to Alberto. You can go ahead, Alberto.
Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fine. I want to ask you first. This is your first time in a Hell in a Cell match. How different do you think it can be from a TLC or a steel cage match?
Well, probably I've been in regular steel cage matches, but one of my comfort zones in this Hell in a Cell deal is I know I can use tables, ladders, and chairs. So right away when I found that out, I was like, okay, this is going to be good. I can work with this, and I can do something great. So yeah, I'm very excited about what can be and what will be.
And in that same subject, do you prefer working with a veteran like Randy Orton or new talents that are not that experienced in the ring?
I totally enjoy with guys like Randy because they've been around for so long, and just like me, and they basically know what they're doing better than most. And but it's also cool to work with people you've never worked with before because you learn from them as well, and you can help teach them as far as ways to modify themselves from what others do. Yeah, I would say I would prefer to work with veterans like Randy.
And which match do you remember the most from your career in pay-per-views?
All the TLC matches stand out with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys. But pretty much when in my singles career, I have to go with Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker, the ladder match for the world title, because that's one that kind of never gets old as well. It's such a cool story of the underdog versus